Welcome back, one and all, to the AOR Pro Mazda Championship. It's round 6. We're at Zandvoort in the Netherlands to wrap up the first half of this third season. My name is Justin, and once again, I am joined by FisiFan91.
Yeah, hey guys, happy to be back again after the thriller of a race that we had last time out at Road America. What a race that was, and here we are at the Zandvoort then, for the first time in the league's history, for the AOR Pro Mazda League anyway. And that's a circuit that is very twisty, but also with a long straight, so it'll be interesting to see how the drivers tackle it and who will be setting the pace.
Yep, last time out I sort of compared it to Mid-Ohio, because it does have straights, it's got plenty of overtaking locations, but obviously, as you mentioned, quite a twisty circuit. Last time out at Road America, it was Jamie Fluke who got his second win of the season with a gap of less than 1,000th of a second to Justin Brunner in second place. Takinen took the final step on the podium less than a second behind Fluke and Brunner, while former championship leader Govan Keeney didn't even complete half of the race after the lap 1 incident between himself, Puheka, and Olden. Jamie Fluke now leads the championship with 106 points, Brunner is in second with 97, and Keeney has dropped to 5th behind Takinen and Reed. That's how things looked after the race at Road America. Now let's kick things off here at Zandvoort, starting with the qualifying report.
Hi, I'm Kerry Olden of Team AOR Blue, taking you around the lap here of Zandvoort, the only Dutch circuit we visit here in the Pro Mazda calendar this season. Going down the start-finish straight, achieving the highest possible speed around the circuit, just braking just after the 100-metre board to try and carry as much speed through the middle of the corner and push out wide on the exit. The lap has truly begun here, so coming up down towards turn 2, try and avoid the inside curb, otherwise it will unsettle the car. Same again with 3, but this time you want to try and angle the car to get a best possible exit speed down onto this straight. It is a straight, but you do go through 2 corners technically here. So the left-hander here of turn 4, and then the uphill right-hander here of turn 5. You're going over a crest, it's blind. Make sure you see spot your braking point here for 6. Carry as much speed as possible. A little bit of understeer, but still manage to keep it on the exit here nicely. Through 7 now, little lift, try and turn in. Missed a little bit of the curb, so lost a bit of time here. Braking for now for turn 8 and 9, the slowest points of the circuit. Cooler conditions help him with the minimum speed through these corners, so I was able to run 3rd gear through these corners and nicely on the power out of 9 there. Now a little mini straight down towards turn 10. This is another opportunity to overtake down on this circuit. Down towards turn 10, brake at 100 metres. Little bit of a lock up there, and use the camber of 11 to power out of 11 nicely there. It's a very strange kind of chicane-like corner there, but not really. Through turns 12 now, try and carry as much speed as possible through 4th gear. Didn't run too wide there on the exit curb, and just flat out all the way through 13 here, and then all I need to do is sit back, watch the time go up on my delta and cross the line to take my 2nd pole position of the season.
So it is Kerry Olden on pole position here in Zandvoort today. He was over a 10th faster than Jamie Fluke, who got pole position last time out at Road America. Govan Keeney starts the race from 3rd position. He's got the Season 2 champion Justin Brunner just behind him. Behind Justin Brunner comes Phil Reed, Olden's teammate, and behind him comes Godin, Keeney's teammate. Bruno Dometer makes a return and starts from 7th position. Martinson starts in an impressive 8th position. And once again, the Carbon Racing cars are right next to each other, with Patrick White ahead of Harley Lewis this time in 9th and 10th respectively. Rene Osterkamp starts from 11th position, a very good qualifying for him as he's the lead Willows Grand Prix car just outside of the top 10. Michael Mittner starts from 12th position with his teammate Christoph Leister starting from 14th, and they've got Stefan Bendow in between them. Stefan's brother Marco Bendow starts from 21st position, Cedric Finsack in 22nd. The Team Tortoise cars are right next to each other in 23rd and 24th, with Johansson narrowly out-qualifying his teammate Evan Imre. And Hugo Prado round out the grid in 28th position. Welcome to the Netherlands for the start of round 6. This is the first time the league has visited this classic Dutch circuit. Hugo Prado is going to be bringing up the rear of the grid in 28th position. Martinson in 8th. Not a bad start for him. He's ahead of the Carbon Racing cars. Bruno Dometer makes his return in that classic Ferrari livery in 7th. Jamie Fluke is in 2nd. Of course, he won the race last time out. It is Kerry Olden, though, the Season 1 champion, who is sitting on pole position. It's a pretty short run down towards turn 1, so I don't expect tons of overtaking here as we're waiting for the lights to go out now. The engines are revving, the drivers are prepared, and the lights are green, and they are away. It looks like a pretty good start for Govan Keeney as he was... No, actually, it looks like Fluke is going to hold on to that position. It looks like Justin Brunner, though, has had a pretty good start, as well as Phil Reed. Phil Reed and Justin Brunner going side by side now, but Brunner with the inside line coming out of turn 1. Turn 1 I expect to be a very popular overtaking location, and Keeney's actually overtaken Fluke. He is up into second position now, and we've already got a car off the circuit. That is Martinson, who is trying to make his way off the circuit. He's being pushed by one of the Bendow brothers, I believe. I'm not sure. Oh, and there's definitely been some contact for McLeod in the background there. It looks like he's actually parked his car on top of someone. Steve Kagerer is trying to rejoin the circuit if someone would just give him a gap to do that. But Olden is breaking away at the start of this race. He's got Govan Keeney right behind him. Obviously, Keeney is anxious to score as many points as possible here today after failing to score any points at Road America, which is probably going to be one of his drop weeks now, based on the sort of results he's been putting in all season long. Here is the battle for 9th position between Harley Lewis and Rene Osterkamp. Lewis with the inside line for turn 9, I believe that was. And, wow, they're still actually side by side, though. Osterkamp coming back at him. He's going to have the inside line for this sort of right-hander. This is almost a chicane. You could sort of call it a chicane. And then turn 11, though, is actually quite long. A bit of a camber to it, which is, I'd say, one of the great features of this circuit is the cambered corners. You can carry quite a bit more speed than you would expect through some of these. And I believe that is Martinson. No, that is Lukens, actually. So Martinson has lost a number of positions. His teammate, Neil Lukens, is all over the back of Hugo Prado right now. And Prado running right behind, I believe that's Johansson in the Team Tortoise car, and very close proximity. There's a bit of a gap ahead of Johansson. Lukens pulls out of the slipstream to the right-hand side of Prado. He's got the inside line heading into turn 1, and it looks like he's going to pretty easily take that position off of him and can now turn his focus towards the Team Tortoise car. But no, actually, Prado coming back at him, much better exit speed coming out of turn 1. Shoots around the outside. Martinson trying to make up positions. He was darn near last after the incident on turn 1. He goes around the outside at turn 3 there. A beautiful move from Martinson, and hopefully he's going to be back up into a points-paying position pretty soon here. But it wasn't a clean lap exactly, Fizzy, but I'd say that was one of the cleaner first laps that we've seen this season.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We had it was a clean first corner, then we had a little bit of contact happening at turn 2, obviously, with Martinson going off and then getting tapped on the grass somehow. And then an incident with Hoppen and Lindström and Kager. I think those were the cars involved. It did look like it from what I saw. And a very interesting start as well. You had Keeney jumping Fluke off the line and round the outside of turn 1. And you had Reed jumping ahead of Brunner as well with pretty much an identical move. So they are now the top 5. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's actually a gap having formed behind Brunner. It looks like it anyway. So once again, I think just like in Road America, there seems to be like a top 5 group that is breaking away a little bit. But here we have the start, at least a replay, and you can see from a very nice onboard, you can see Keeney getting a reasonable... Actually, he didn't get a reasonable side, he just made it stick around the outside, and he got loads of battling down a bit further back with Dometer and White and Martins going side by side into turn 1 actually. And up at the front we can see Keeney going around the outside of Fluke, Phil around the outside of Brunner, and there's loads of action. Martinson actually gets himself up to 7th. It was Dometer that dropped 2 positions from a bad start, and then Martinson just loses it, goes on the grass. Does well, to be honest, to not rejoin on the track. There's another car that goes off as well. I'm sure we'll see a closer look at that. But here we go. The start from Phil Reed's view from 5th, looking at the back of Keeney. And Brunner actually looked like he got a good start and was looking to the inside of Keeney a little bit. Keeney just braked so much later. That was incredible. Got very close to Fluke's wheel as well. And maybe that put Brunner off a bit because he had to kind of back off a bit more than Reed did to avoid hitting Fluke. And Reed made it stick around the outside as well. So great action on the first lap. Here's the onboard from Patrick White, and you can see Dometer got a really bad launch actually. It was just about to launch, and Patrick White's trying to squeeze through the middle of the Dometer and Martins down into turn 1. And Martins is just staying on the inside. White doing well not to hit Dometer, and everyone doing well to leave each other. Enough room there to not have an incident. And here we can see what happened to Martinson. Around turn 2, just loses the back end. Very, very cold tires at the start of this race with quite low temperatures here this track. And then trying to make his way back onto the track, but gets tapped by one of the Bendos, as you said. trying to just recover basically, and now he's down to last. And well, apart from that other incident that happened, here's Stefan Bendo actually. I assume this is the guy who ends up tapping Martinsen on the grass. We can see what happened there. Oh yeah, he just loses the back end as well, trying to not hit the back of that carbon. And that is very unfortunate. I don't think he really could have done anything about that. It was just an unfortunate chain of events. And then the incident here between Hoppen, Kager and Lindström. And it looks like Hoppen just loses the back end. Wow. Very unlucky for everyone really. We can see here from the rear view of Hoppen. Let's see what happens. Yeah, just looks like the back end goes. And Lindström just gets caught on him. And that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Lindström, actually. In only his second race, he's had some pretty horrible luck. Really nothing he could have done about that. I do apologize. I did say that was McLeod in that, but that was actually Mark Hoppen. Sorry, they both have the bright green liveries, the lime green neon liveries. So that's what kind of threw me off there. But yeah, that was Mark Hoppen that was involved in that lap 1 incident. But as it stands right now, Kerry Nolden still leading this race after 4 laps. Obviously, a lot more laps in this race versus Road America as being a much shorter lap. Looks like Dometer now coming under attack from Osterkamp as they're heading down towards turn 10. Dometer is going to have the inside line, but it looks like Osterkamp has track position. But Osterkamp runs a little deep there. It looks like that allows Dometer to come back at him. And here is and that is somebody
Justin
off
Brunner.
the circuit. That is Justin Brunner. He gets a little bit wide through the coming out of the penultimate corner into the final corner, and it looks like he's going to lose out to, I believe that's Godin. I believe Godin now
I believe
up
so,
in the 5th position. Yeah. So that is very unfortunate for the Season 2 champion. He's going to be very disappointed with that, I'm sure. Again, with the incidents early in the race, obviously, he can make up lots of positions. He just really needs to focus and not let the mental game come into play. Harley Lewis now all over the back of Osterkamp, and it looks like Osterkamp is struggling, obviously, with Dometer getting in front of him. And that is Hugo Prado running in very close proximity, actually, to, I believe that's Alexander Van Rompuy just ahead of him. It sure is. Yeah, Van Rompuy and Prado starting from the final 2 positions in this race. I mean, yeah, they started from 27th to 28th, so these guys are moving up the field, so that's good news for them. I believe that was definitely an AOR red car behind them as they're going side by side now through turn 5 into turn 6 now. And in fact, is that both AOR red cars behind them? It is, yeah. I'm not sure which of them is leading at the moment. I just couldn't quite make out the number there. But very close racing, obviously, with Prado. He's a bit of a fan favorite. Van Rompuy, though, doing quite well. This is some fantastic racing.
Oh, goes for the dive bomb.
Wow, that's fantastic stuff into turn 9. Great move there. As we mentioned earlier in the race, turn 1 probably going to be the most likely overtaking location, but this really is a circuit that just encourages overtaking in all sorts of corners. Turn 10 actually is another one where I would expect quite a number of overtakes. Van Rompuy now coming under attack. Oh no! And that's Kerry Nolden. Kerry Nolden is off the circuit. I'm not sure what corner that is, but he's got some pretty heavy rear wing damage. I think it's safe to say that there's been some sort of contact between them. Govan Keeney takes the lead of this race. I think that happened somewhat.
Keeney has a broken front wing. You can see there. There must have been some contact.
Yeah, and we've got the Bendow brothers going side by side. And that is Kerry Nolden parked up on the side of the road, and he is going to have to get a tow. That is very unfortunate for Kerry Nolden, who was leading this race from pole position. There's been some sort of contact between himself and the former championship leader, Govan Keeney, and I'm not sure exactly what's happened. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it at some point. Jamie Fluke now up into 2nd position, back into his starting position of 2nd, but still behind Govan Keeney. The Bendow brothers really going at it here, which is fantastic to see. You know, who needs inter team battles when you've got inter-family battles going on the circuit? And the two of them really going for it here. And there's been contact! There's been contact! Stefan runs into the back of Marco. Marco spins off the circuit. Robert Plumley, it looks like, has a little bit of wing damage. I'm not sure what happened to him. Marco Bendow now down into 16th position as his brother and teammate continues on down the road. Unbelievable scenes here at Zandvoort.
That is amazing. I mean, you usually say that the last thing you want to see from teammates is contact between each other, and then we see contact between family members as well. That is not what you want to see, and well, not what they would want to see. I'm sure they won't be giving to each other too expensive Christmas presents next time around. But here we go, Dometer defending now 7th place, I believe 7th place from Osterkamp once again. Oskam trying to go around the outside of the turn 1, basically, but he can't make it stick. And yeah, this is basically what I said about the gap. I mean, Osterkamp, and Dometer nearly loses the back end there. But I was going to say, there looks to be a huge gap ahead of Dometer. He's holding up quite a train at the moment. Here's Harley Lewis in 9th place, just sitting and watching this battle. Osterkamp still can't find a way through. Lewis, oh my goodness, that was close as well. So close to touching the tire. Lewis just lost the car a little bit on the curb there, and here we go, an incident on lap 6 between Nolden and Keeney. What is going on there? Nolden goes into turn 1, and Keeney launches over the top of him after just braking a bit later, and Nolden just completely spins around, gets massive rear wing damage. Wow, I don't know what to say about that. That is not what you see want to see up at the front.
No, that is that's pretty unfortunate. Here we're going to see an onboard with Keeney as we're coming in, braking, wow, just before the 50-meter board, incredibly close, and it looks like Keeney's just gone very, very deep. Very, very deep. Obviously, we saw how late Keeney brakes for turn 1 on the opening lap. We saw how beneficial it was for him, and obviously Kerry Nolden, who wasn't even at the apex, he was even running a little bit wide himself, and it still gets collected by Keeney. That is very unfortunate, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we see possibly some sort of action from the stewards in regards to that one, and I am sure that Kerry Nolden is just absolutely fuming in the cockpit right now, just absolutely, and we as we saw before when we saw the Bendau brothers battling, he did just park it up on the side and has gotten a tow. I don't know if he has technically retired from the race yet, but obviously you lose quite a bit of time when you're getting the car towed to the pits. And yep, I am getting word now that he is officially out of this race. So Kerry Nolden out of this race here at Zandvoort. Very, very unfortunate. Justin Brunner, though, he's on the attack now, having a look at Patrick White at the inside of turn 1. Patrick White does a great job to defend from him, though, and actually with the better exit speed is able to keep Brunner behind for right now. Back onto this battle for, I believe, 7th, where Dometer is still defending from Osterkamp. You got to say, Osterkamp is showing some really impressive pace here today. He gained a couple of positions as a result of, I believe, Martinson's incident, and also Kerry Nolden's incident, of course, obviously. But Osterkamp really seems to be running quite well. He's defending pretty well from Harley Lewis as well. He really needs to get by Dometer. He's showing that he has better pace than Dometer, or at least he does with the benefit of the slipstream. But he really needs to try and get by Dometer as soon as he can. So here is the leader of this race at the moment, Govan Keeney. Again, we don't know if he's got any sort of penalty or anything like that. He's obviously got some heavy front wing damage to the front left-hand side of his Star Mazda, and I'm not sure if that's going to be affecting him too much. Obviously, that would be affecting him mainly through right-hand corners, such as turn 12 and 13, which they're going through now. So I don't know if he's going to be coming under any sort of threat from Jamie Fluke. I mean, obviously he's coming under attack from Jamie Fluke, but I don't know how hard he can defend. He does defend the inside line heading into turn 1 as we start lap 9. Fluke to the outside. It looks like he's going to try and just take the normal racing line, though, and possibly attack Keeney coming out of turn 1. It's a pretty short run down towards turns 2 and 3, though. Yeah, and it doesn't look like it was long enough for him to do anything about it. Once again, though, as has sort of been the way with AOR Blue, if one falls, the other really seems to pick up the pace, and Phil Reed is showing some incredible pace here, currently in the bottom podium position, as we're going to get a replay and see exactly what happened between the Bendau brothers, and we can see, yeah, just a little bit of a tap there. I don't think we can blame that on lag, since I assume they're probably in the same house together. If not, they're at least in the same area. They're both in Germany, so I'm not sure exactly what that was all about, but obviously they're probably going to be kicking themselves, not just because they're brothers, but because they're teammates, and that's going to be some points that they lost out on. And here's the replay of what happened with Justin Brunner. He just got his left side into the dirt and gravel coming out of turn 12, and that just completely destroyed turn 13, which is arguably the most important corner in the entire circuit because of the long straight down towards turn 1. And so Brunner losing out on a number of positions and really dropping himself out of a possible podium position. Phil Reed now definitely is attacking Jamie Fluke. Jamie Fluke has made the wrong decision there. He ducked out of the slipstream of Govan Keeney, and that's allowed Phil Reed to just breeze by and take that second place position. That I gotta say, I think that was a huge mistake from Jamie Fluke pulling to the right-hand side. I know he didn't want Phil Reed to be getting the slipstream, but of course, right in front of Fluke was Keeney, and so he just took the slipstream off of Keeney, moves up into second place. So while one AOR, oh man, it's some more running wide moments through the penultimate corner, this time for Hugo Prado. He's got Martinson all over the back of him. Martinson also has some rear wing damage because of that contact on lap 1 that happened with him. He's going to have the inside line heading into turn 1, but it doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed. He really can't pull alongside Prado. He does some late braking though, and it looks like he is going to grab that position. And now it's Neil Lukin's turn to see if he can try and do the same to Prado, and maybe Lukins can follow his teammate, and these guys can get a nice result here today.
Yeah, very impressive stuff actually. Obviously, Preto and Martinson battling. Both of them have been in last place at one point in this race. Obviously, Preto started from last on the grid, and Martinson obviously was last after his turn 3 spin. But yeah, Preto seems to be struggling actually a little bit after making up loads of places on the first lap. And now coming under attack a little bit from Neil Lukins. But actually, I just want to go. I just want to go back quickly to the pass that Reed did on Fluke, because that looked unnaturally easy to me. He just breezed past him on the straight, like it was almost like it was an F1 race, and he had DRS. It was literally. So I don't know if there might have been some tactics involved in Fluke actually wanting him to go through there. I don't know. Maybe he wanted Reed to challenge Keeney instead for some reason. Because obviously Fluke would have been aware of the incident Keeney had with Carey. Obviously, maybe Fluke just is kind of playing the long game here and just doesn't want to get involved with any battling, and is happy to sit back and watch Reed and Keeney go at it.
Yeah, after just seeing the last person that was leading the race and what happened to them, yeah, I think it's very possible that that may have been a strategic move on Fluke's part. So what I assumed was a mistake may in fact be all part of Fluke's long game strategy. And of course, Fluke riding that high after getting his second win at Road America. So far, though, he has proven to be very quick at non-European circuits, and this is a very European circuit, as Martinson now having a look at Johansson. That is not wow, that is a very unconventional overtake attempt there. Nearly worked out for him, but Johansson is able to hang on to that position for right now. And now Prado having a look at Martinson. He's got the benefit of the slipstream, but of course Martinson getting the slipstream off of Johansson as well. Wonderful series of corners there through turns 4, 5, and 6. Very high speed. Fantastic circuit, and as I mentioned before, cambered as well, which is exactly what you want to see. And there is our leader, Govan Keeney, with Phil Reed all over the back of him, and last week's winner, Jamie Fluke, running right behind them as they're coming towards the end of lap 11. We're approaching the 1/3 distance now. Keeney goes to the middle of the track, just very slowly drifting over to the right-hand side. That's a common F1 defending tactic, and running very wide actually at the exit of turn 1, and just making it as difficult as he can for Phil Reed. But Phil Reed, I have a feeling Phil knows that there is some sort of damage to Keeney's car, and I think he can tell that just based on Keeney's speed. But at the same time, he obviously saw that incident, and even more cars running wide at the penultimate corner, turn 12. Here comes Martinson now, all over the back of Johansson. They're side by side now as they're coming towards the end of the lap. Johansson defending the inside line. Prado behind both of them. What can he do? Neil Lukins as well, still hanging in there right behind Prado. Martinson tries around the outside at turn 1, and it looks like, is he going to be able to do it this time? They've got very similar exit speeds, but no, Martinson, it looks like, has the track position. He goes around the outside, and that should be job done. And it sure is, as he gets... Oh, no! Wow, Johansson really... He's fighting as hard as he could. He tried it around the outside at turn 3 there. He's coming back at Martinson on the run through turns 4 and then 5. Here's the left-hander at 4, the right-hander at 5, and then obviously the very high-speed turn 6. Oh, getting very close to Johansson. I don't know if there was contact there. That was extremely close, just all over the back of him. Hugo Prado getting very aggressive here on lap 12. And it does look like Martinson actually is starting to break away from this pack. Obviously, Martinson quite a bit out of position. You could probably say the same for Prado. But Martinson, it's not going to really surprise me if he starts to break away. But now Prado and Lukens, and in fact the car behind him as well, they're all going to have to try and get by as soon as they can. Here's an incident, or a replay of an incident on lap 7 involving Alexander Van Rompuy. That's an unfortunate one for him as he ran off the circuit there. And he had another incident one lap later. This is through turn 6. Ooh. Oh, and he just gets a little too heavy on the curb. Possibly some... Yeah, and he's disappeared into the ether, never to return again. No, I'm just kidding. So Justin Brunner now down in 6th position after that incident that he had in between turns 12 and 13. And he's looking pretty good, though, to make up some positions. As we've mentioned, the top 3 have really started to break away. What used to be the top 4, now is the top 3, have started to break away from this group here. So we've got a group of 3 leading a group of 3, and Brunner is at the rear end, the tail end of that second group of 3. And Patrick White is actually running pretty defensive through turn 9, protecting that inside line. And Brunner's coming back at him at the outside for turn 10, which is very difficult to do, but if he can hang it around the outside at turn 10, he'll get the inside line for turn 11, and that's exactly what he's done, and he moves himself up into 5th position, and it looks like, yeah, both of these cars have almost identical front wing.
I was going to say that, yeah. No, it's incredible, but yeah, Brunner making a good move there, and obviously he is not really where we would have wanted to qualify 4th, and you know, he's a guy we usually see fighting for wins, but he's a bit down here as we see Prado attacking Johansson now, and you can see Martinson have pulled quite a gap, but Johansson, he keeps fighting. I mean, he doesn't give up. He maybe doesn't have the pace to some of these guys, but he is really fighting hard. And Prado now up the inside of what I believe is turn 10 and then turn 11. And there's still side by side. Can Prado hang it around the outside? It would be an incredible overtake if you can pull it off. And he will now have the inside line for the penultimate corner. And that is a fantastic move from Hugo Prado to move himself up to what I believe it is 18th place at this point in time. And Luke is now looking to take advantage maybe as well. But Johansson, no. Little naughty there, but he just about does it in time to avoid any contact and for Lukens to move to the other side. And Johansson actually almost looks like he's going to go back past Prado. He had so much speed on the straight there. That was incredible. And round the outside of turn 1, Prado, can he fight back? Going through turn 2, he can. They're still side by side, man. They must have been side by side for half the lap now. And Johansson, no, I was going to say it looks like he was going to get the position back, but Prado then goes around the outside again and now has the better launch out of the corner. What a battle we've got going on here for 17th or 18th place, and Prado gets himself ahead finally after battling for pretty much an entire lap. Man.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, the battles we're seeing for the tail end positions, that's incredible. Phil Reed now, though, trying a move once again on Govan Keeney. Keeney defending the inside line through the cambered turn 1. Phil Reed trying to hang it around the outside. He can't quite. Keeney seems very quick through turn 1. Brunner into the pits. Patrick White into the pits. Both of these cars into the pits, as we can see the AOR blue car of Kerry Nolden up ahead. That is a very disappointing sight to see. I'm sure even more disappointing if you're Kerry Nolden. But Brunner, the Season 2 champion, is going to continue on and fight for that 4th place position. As we've been saying, not sure that anybody can really contend with the top 3 here as they've started to break away. But of course, once penalties come into effect, if penalties come into effect, if there's any sort of penalty for Govan Keeney, that could possibly drop him down. So if Brunner plays his cards right, and if he can get within 10 seconds of Govan Keeney, then he could potentially find himself in a podium-paying position. But he is stuck, actually, now, behind Evan Imre. He's stuck behind the Team Tortoise car, and he's stuck behind him in the worst part of the lap. He's really got no chance of overtaking through turn 6, 7, 8, really 9 either. 9 is a little bit more of an overtaking opportunity than 6, 7, and 8, but probably Brunner's next chance for an overtake is going to be at turn 10, as they're nearly going side by side. And in fact, Imre defending the inside line at turn 7. I think that's going to allow Brunner to come at him into turn 8. He's going to have the inside line. Imre's going to have the inside line for turn 9, though. Can Brunner stick it around the outside of what is quite a long corner, actually? It's hairpin in shape, but it's quite a wide corner, and it does look like he is going to move himself up ahead of Evan Imre. Obviously, that's not really for a position because Imre yet to pit, but here is Bruno Dometer still in 5th position. Osterkamp still unable to get by him, and it looks like one of the... Yeah, that is... Leister, yes, Christoph Leister into the pit, so he's had enough of being stuck behind Bruno Dometer, and I completely agree with that decision from Leister as we're approaching the halfway point of this race now. Leister is going to try something different, or maybe this was planned, who knows, but he's going to try something different. He's going to pit on a different lap versus those other 3 cars he's battling with, and that might possibly give him the opportunity to jump Dometer in the pits. But as it stands right now, Keeney still leads from Phil Reed, but Fluke's still hanging in there. So I think you may have been right, Fizzy, when you said that that may have been a strategic move from Fluke, because he's really not dropping off the back of these guys. He may just kind of be hanging back. Possibly, Fluke might be heavily fueled for the first stint. He might just be looking to run as long as he possibly can. The pit window, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong here, I assume it's a larger pit window here compared to Road America. I assume this is a little bit less of a fuel-consuming circuit, right?
Yeah, compared to Road America, definitely. Obviously, there were Road America. The pit window was only a few laps. Here, it's I'm not completely sure. Maybe more like 5-6 laps, but I'm sure we'll see some of these guys go in not too long. As Reed this time did not get as close to Keeney as he has done at some points, and here we go. Keeney's teammate Godin going into the pits from 4th place. Obviously he was quite close to Brunner, I believe, on the track. So interesting to see where it comes out compared to him. And I believe I saw a carbon racing car actually in the pits when we were cutting away from Godin there. I'm not really sure what's gone on there. Because I don't think there was a carbon racing car ahead of Godin, like legitimately on the track. So maybe one of that's Patrick White actually, number 45 in the pits, and he did not. Yeah, he's still just standing there. I really don't know. Patrick White might have had a problem actually. And here comes Brunner actually, and Godin is still ahead. But Patrick White, who was close to these guys before the pit stops, is still sitting there and must have some kind of problem.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, I don't know if it's a technical problem. He's got some PC issues. We can only speculate as to what's going on. But as you said, Godin still ahead of Brunner for what is essentially a battle for 4th position, I believe, right?
And net 4th is, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
what is going on.
Yeah, I think it's a net 4th. We haven't seen a lot of Godin. Here we're going to have a replay, actually, of what happened with Patrick White. As we see, he dives into the pits to make his stop. Oh, and he's making contact with the barrier. He takes out the cone, and that would definitely explain what happened with Patrick White as he comes to a stop in his pit box. And and he never to return to the circuit. He's either got an incredibly long repair time, or he's just calling it a day.
I think it hurt. To me, it sounded like he even switched engine off while he parked there. So I think his day is over.
Yep, which is very unfortunate. Obviously, we don't like to see any cars retire, but it looks like Godin now coming under attack from Justin Brunner on lap 20, heading into turn 1. Justin Brunner grabs that inside line, and wow, he just makes it look so easy. Godin really no answer for that. I'm not sure if he know. I mean, obviously Brunner is the season 2 champion, so maybe he just wasn't really fighting all that much. But it looks like the battle for the lead is seriously heating up. Yeah, getting very close, quite intimate between the two of them as they're heading into turn 10. Phil Reed goes around the outside at turn 10, gets the inside line, runs a little bit wide. There's very slight contact between his rear right tire and that of
what a move that was, man. I just have to say, what a move. Round the outside of turn 10. How often do you see that? That was Phil Reed actually stuck his tire in the gravel there, and Keeney might come straight back at him after Phil pulled up that incredible move. Oh, but no, Keeney ducks to the inside to go into the pits along with Jamie Fluke. That is very interesting after Phil just got himself into the lead. These guys have decided to respond by going straight in the pit lane.
Interesting. That's very interesting, because obviously Phil Reed was very vulnerable. I'm not sure they had the option. You know, they may have been running on fumes at that point, so they had no choice but to pit at the end of lap 20. But now Phil Reed is going to have the opportunity to just kind of focus on lap time, which obviously could be very beneficial for him potentially if he plays his cards right. Justin Brunner now appears to be building a little bit of a gap to Godin. Godin's still within slipstream range, but you have to say he's way too far back to make any sort of overtake attempt heading into turn 1. And where are the cars coming out? Ow, wow. There are a number of cars in the pits. I think that's Dometer. Fluke is ahead of Keeney. And I wonder if that's because of repairs, possibly, because Fluke obviously was in 3rd position behind Keeney when they went into the pits. Brunner,
look at where Brunner and Godin are. They're ahead, and they've also pitted, and they're ahead of both Fluke and Keeney.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened.
I mean, yeah, my brain is still trying to process what just happened, but yeah, I mean, that is an enormous lead for Justin Brunner and for Jean-Francois Godin. Godin's got to be feeling pretty good here. Phil Reed obviously has no idea what's going on the track. He is quite lonely on the circuit as it stands right now as he's coming through the final corner, and I assume we're going to see him dive into the pits, and based on that racing line, he does exactly that. So Reed into the pits now. It's going to be very interesting to see where he comes out, not just in relationship to Keeney, but of course in relation to Justin Brunner and even Godin as well. Godin could play a huge role in this race potentially. Obviously, his teammate Govan Keeney is ahead of him in the championship, so we could see Godin doing a little bit of aggressive defending here to possibly help his teammate Govan. Keeney's had a huge incident. Oh, and he slams the barrier at high speed. Keeney just making contact. That was coming out of turn 11. Hits the barrier with both of his right tires. Phil Reed still in the lead of this race. Phil Reed pits and comes out in the lead of this race still.
By himself as well. Man, he has a huge lead as well. Here comes Brunner and Godin, who are now in 2nd and 3rd. And we still don't know what happened to Fluke and Keeney. They might have some kind of problem in the pit, so maybe they had to repair some damage. I'm sure we'll see in a second. Here comes Fluke then, at quite a distance behind Brunner and Godin, and he's running 4th now, legitimately. So something has been shaken up very much by the pit stops. And here we got an incident on lap 19 with Bruno Dometer, who was running in a net 7th, I believe, and he spun it into the wall, completely destroyed his front wing. That is not what he deserved after having put up some great defending. And they're now going in. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's...
there goes the engine. There goes
Yep,
the
and Dometer gives up the ghost, coming into the pits a little bit too aggressive on the downshifts. And there is... this is the overtake that Phil Reed made on Keeney. Keeney with some pretty serious oversteer there through turn 8. And you could just see Reed just closing up on the back of him. And just look how close they are. Just Reed's got some serious bravery there. He was running very, very close behind Keeney. And then, as you mentioned, that fantastic move around the outside. There's the brief contact. And that is them coming out of turn 11, where Govan Keeney would eventually make that mistake. And here is when Fluke and Keeney both dove into the pits. And I'm really not sure what happened with them. As we mentioned, we could see them.
They're cutting the entry line, actually.
So they got penalties. I assume they got held in the pits.
I'm pretty sure the game offers a 15-second penalty for that. But for Keeney, though, it didn't really matter anyway, because on the outlap, I believe, he spun it straight into the wall very heavily, and he's surely out of the race. So any penalty that might have been applied to him for the incident in McCarry, it's not really going to matter as we go. Was that Osterkamp? Oh, his car's coming round, but he gets out of the way.
Very well done.
Well done to Osterkamp, yeah. Great awareness to get off the racing line as quickly as he could, but obviously unfortunate to drop several positions. So in the last few laps, we've seen loads of positions being shaken up, and I'm not really sure what the situation is, apart from maybe the top 4 who we was looking at previously.
Well, surely everybody's pit now, as we're on lap 26. Only 10 laps remaining. Yeah, so I believe everybody has pit for their one mandatory stop. Obviously, we may see further pit stops possibly as a result of all the incidents and everything that have happened. But yeah, things have really been shooken up. A number of penalties at the pit entrance, or a couple of penalties at the pit entrance as well. Leanne Robinson running in really good form here today. In fact, both of the Willows Grand Prix cars, aside from Osterkamp's mistake there that caused them to lose a couple of positions, it's been a fantastic race for the Willows Grand Prix team. They've showed some really, really good pace. Both of them were running in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. We've now got Martinson all over the back of, well, he was all over the back. He's to the side now of Evan Imre into turn 1. Imre defends that position quite well. Martinson's going to get a little bit of a slipstream, but it's just such a short run down towards turns 2 and 3, as we're going to get a replay of the incident on lap 20 for Frederick Johansson as he comes into the pits. He does not cross the white line, but he does slam into the barrier, just like Patrick White did, only he comes to a complete stop and was actually blocking the pit entrance there. I'm not sure who that was that got by him, but they did a great job of avoiding him and making sure that they didn't hit him at that pit entrance there. Martinson's still all over the back of Evan Imre now as we're coming to the tail end of lap 28. We're past the 75% race distance mark, so we've only got, after this lap, we're only going to have 8 laps remaining in this race here at Zandvoort. Martinson looks like he's definitely got the measure of Imre now. Imre defending the inside line into turn 1 once again, as he did last time. And Martinson again is going to have to try it around the outside. It looks like he's got the track position. Yep, he's still got the track position as they're coming out of the corner. Surely this is going to be move done. Imre is trying to fight back at him as best as he can, but it does look like Martinson carried more speed through the corner and is able to move up. I'm not even sure what position that's for anymore.
Like 12th or something.
So outside the top 10, which is strange territory for Martinson, obviously. He's been quite consistent all season long. We're having a little look at Harley Lewis there, that was. Now on to Lee N. Robinson, now the lead Willows Grand Prix car, of course, after what happened with Rene Osterkamp. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like based on the ticker up at the top, Osterkamp is still just inside the top 10. He's got Marco Bendau, the lead of the two brothers, currently just behind him. Now let's see what happened with Hugo Prado and Neil Lukens. Lukens is all over the place today in that we're seeing quite a lot of him. So Lukens seems to be going quite well here at Zandvoort. Prado tries around the outside using all of the track and then some, and takes that position off the AOR red car of Neil Lukens. A nice clean move. Though Lukens appears to be struggling as he's all over. Robert Plumley is all over the back of him now. Here we have another replay, and he just goes around the outside. Some very, very respectable driving. With all the incidents we've seen, though, at the same time, you've got to say, and you did say it earlier, actually, Fizzy, that there's been some incredibly close but respectful racing from a lot of the drivers here today. A number of people could learn a lesson or two from them. Here is a battle for 6th position between Michael Mintner and Lee N. Robinson, and I imagine this is around where Osterkamp would have been without that incident, and Robinson disappearing there for quite a little while, but he has reappeared and is still behind Mintner, and they're running in very close proximity through turn 6 there.
Bear in mind, we're actually at the penultimate lap. This has flown by most of the races, and Phil Reed is about to start his final lap. Through all the replays and the battling we've seen in the midfield, the guys at the front have been running pretty much stationary. I mean, it looks like Brunner and Godin have been catching up to Phil Reed for the past few laps. They're only a couple of seconds behind, to be honest, but Phil Reed has 1 lap to just keep away from any incidents and to get that win, which I guess would in a way be a little bit of a poetic justice for the AOR Blue team with what happened with Kerry and Keeney earlier on. Obviously Phil then picking up the pieces, I suppose, and passing Keeney for the lead, and then Keeney obviously crashed by himself later on. And speaking of crashing, I mean, we've seen quite a few people crash there, but it's been usually through incidents by themselves, as we've got Mittner into the pits on the final, well, just before the final lap, pitting from 6th place, and definitely...
Surely that's for fuel.
Yeah, there must be, to be honest. He must have underfueled or just been too aggressive on the fuel usage. So Harley Lewis, I believe, is running 5th at the moment, but here we go. It's only a few corners to go for Phil Reed to get this win here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Reed's got to be ecstatic. We've seen that Kerry Olden's car is still in the pits, so he is actually still watching this race. So we've sort of got a Canada 2001 situation where one of the teammates has been taken out and is just watching as unbelievably his teammate is about to come home with a win. Phil Reed started this race from 5th position behind Brunner, Keeney, Fluke, and Nolden, and he just swerving back and forth. Phil Reed, he's got to be so happy about that win. He just made it look so easy at the end there as well. He just picked up the pieces when everything fell apart for everyone around him. Brunner grabs that 2nd place position. Godin getting a very well-earned podium position, I believe. And Jamie Fluke comes home in 4th position. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit upset about that after starting from 2nd position. Leon Robinson currently in 6th position, but what can he do? He's got the carbon racing car. Yeah, Lewis seems to be going very slowly. Possibly he might be running out of fuel as well. Leon Robinson, he's trying to grab the inside line for the final corner. Lewis is going very, very slowly, and it's a pretty long run down towards the start-finish line, and it looks like Robinson's got it. Yeah, certainly Lewis has run out of fuel, which may have actually been the better option for Mittner, depending on what his fuel situation was like. And I'm sure, as we saw Mittner pitting on the penultimate lap, he's got to be absolutely gutted. There is Michael Mittner, and he's got to be wondering what could have been. In fact, I don't think he needs to wonder. I think he knows exactly what could have been.
Ooh, it looks like Stefan Bendau also was running out of fuel. He was going very slowly. He got passed by Mittner actually out of the final corner there. So Mittner he gets one place back at least.
For being a track where we said the fuel consumption wasn't nearly as high as Road America, we're seeing a lot of cars running out of fuel here.
Yeah.
And here's what happened. Here's a replay of the final lap. Marco Bendau trying to defend from Evan Imre as they go through turn 3. Imre with the inside line makes it look so easy. Prado swooping to the left-hand side as well. Looks like he's going to take that position. Imre seems to be moving very slowly, though, actually. And there's almost contact between Prado and Bendau as they go through turns 4, 5, and into 6. And Prado now is all over the back of Imre. Imre seems to be going very, very slowly. Prado getting the inside line just about. Wow, very nearly contact between them at the entrance of turn 7. Prado hanging back for turn 8. And let's see exactly. Oh, here is Phil Reed. He's so happy. He is absolutely thrilled about that win, and I'm sure Kerry Olden is in the pits just cheering his little heart out for what was a fantastic win for Phil Reed. 2.5 seconds ahead of the Season 2 champion Justin Brunner, and Godin grabbing that final podium position. I believe his first podium in the league?
Not in the league. He had a couple, I believe, in Season 2, but his first of the season for sure.
Gotcha. Jamie Fluke grabbing that 4th place position, as we mentioned, starting from 2nd, so I'm sure he's a little bit upset about that. Leanne Robinson in 5th. It's a nice finish for Willows Grand Prix. Osterkamp still grabbing 7th position, despite what happened to him, so I'm sure he's happy about that. Leister and Mittner finishing in 8th and 9th. Obviously, I think Mittner would have been the one ahead of Leister, though, if it wasn't for him running out of fuel. Stefan Bendau in the end grabbing the final top 10 position. Martinson just outside of the top 10 in 11th, but finishing ahead of Evan Imre, which I'm sure he's going to be happy about. Prado just behind Imre at the end there, very, very close between them. Plumley as well, not too far behind. Neil Lukens grabbing some nice points, grabbing 6 points for AOR Red, so it's a double points finish for AOR Red. Marco Bendau finishing in 16th position. He's followed by Kagerer, Robinson, Johansson, and Govan Keeney. Grabbing actually fastest lap of the race. He doesn't get any points aside from the 1 bonus point, so he does grab a bonus point, thankfully, with that fastest lap. But of course, it's another very tough race for Govan Keeney, and we've got another page full of DNFs, just like at Road America. Kerry Olden actually grabbing a bonus point for that's right. So Kerry Olden still grabbing a point for his pole position in the championship. Jamie Fluke is leading ahead of Justin Brunner, but now just 3 points between them, very, very close at the top. Phil Reed moving up into 3rd ahead of Joni Takinen with that race win. I'm sure he's very happy. Godin as well, moving ahead of his teammate. I didn't expect to be saying that this season, but Godin moves ahead of Keeney in the championship. Of course, drop weeks have not come into effect just yet. Martinson is in 7th. He's followed by Puheka, Nolden, and White. And in fact, Puheka and Nolden both moving down a couple of positions as a result of today's race. So it's been a great day for Phil Reed, but really not too many other, and Godin, for Reed and Godin, it's been a fantastic race, but and as well for the Willows Grand Prix guys, you got to say it was a pretty good race for them too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Willows Grand Prix actually was a team here today that scored the most points, to be honest, because most of the other teams had only one driver finish, apart from LM Rennsport as well, with Mittner and Leister in 8th and 9th, and a couple of other teams having double finishes, but further down the order. So Willows GP, a fantastic day for them, with Leanne Robinson getting 5th place. I just had to mention 5th from 20th on the grid, so wow. Very impressive. And here we of course have the bottom end of the Drivers' Championship, where it's also very close. You can see Dometer on 26 moving down sadly after DNFing, well, looking good for some great points actually. And you mentioned about the list of DNFs around here. Unlike previous races where it's been incidents between several cars usually, here it's been usually crashes, like people have done it by themselves. It's a very tricky track, and people have just well, some people anyway have not been able to cope with it for the entire race distance.
Yeah, but Team AOR Blue takes the lead of the team's championship, sitting on 169 points thanks to Phil Reed's win. Glacier Racing now in second position with Takinen and Puheka. Team players now with Godin's podium, moving up into third position ahead of Red Devolution Racing, or Red Devolution GP, who is, of course, just Jamie Fluke. So it's incredible that he's even in fourth position, considering he doesn't have a teammate. Justin Brunner and Christian Thielozuk, who we haven't seen in a while now, in fifth position, still ahead of Carbon Racing in sixth position. KP Racing of the Bendow brothers actually gaining position, moving up into 12th, ahead of Kenduchi Racing. ACR dropping down a couple of positions. Daniel Baxter not taking part in today's race, and Alexander Van Rompuy having some struggles. So ACR dropping down the order even further, which is really, really surprising. They were quite a competitive team last time out, and they just really seem to be struggling. Next time out, though, it is going to be the classic British circuit at Brands Hatch. Obviously, a circuit that pretty much all of the drivers are quite familiar with. Very high-speed circuit and lots of overtaking locations. It should be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to this one personally, as it's a thrilling circuit, and it should suit the Star Mazda quite well. But thank you once again for joining me, Fizzy, in the commentary booth, and of course for putting everything together.
Yeah, no worries. Again, a pleasure to be here, and another very interesting race for sure, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yep, Brands Hatch should be very exciting. I thank all you guys for joining us today. We'll see you next time at Brands Hatch.